Hey, so thanks for coming back to watch my videos. If you haven't seen my first video, that is more about domestic violence and the signs of healthy relationships, signs of unhealthy relationships. This video is going to be the start of my little series where I'm telling you about my story. Before I get into it, I want to explain that there will be vivid details in the next couple of videos, including this one. So if you do get triggered, the details in here may be triggering to you. Also, if you do know my ex, this is not to bash him. This is not to change your opinion of him. This is simply to tell my story so that other people do not feel alone, and other people can come out and tell their stories, and this can improve the statistics of domestic violence, because as it stands right now, 1 in 3 women will suffer severe violence from a domestic partner, and 1 in 4 men will. So I really want those numbers to change, and this is my way of bringing awareness to it. So we met November of 2011. I was 18. I went to a party that my roommates had dragged me out to, and as I was getting out of the car, a guy that I had met the previous week introduced me to his friend, saying, "Hey, this is so-and-so. He's funny, and he just caught my attention. He had a beautiful smile, and he was charming. He was quick with his responses. He was funny and goofy, and it was just very attractive to me." So we went throughout the party. I was the only one not drinking. He wasn't drinking either. And he kept telling me all night, "You're cute, you're going home with me." I said, "No, I'm not. I am not the type of girl, and I'm not going home with you tonight." And I kind of laughed it off, and I did not go home with him. The next night, I actually went to the movies. He invited a group of us to go, and he ended up ditching us and saying that he had to go with his aunt somewhere. And I found out 3 years later that he was actually in the same movie theater behind us with another girl. And yeah, had I known that then, things would have been different, because that was our first date. Technically, kind of. He wasn't there, was there. So in December, it was my birthday. We had only known each other a month, and he wanted to go down. I had to leave and go home because the dorms were closed. So he wanted to go down with me. My parents said no because they didn't know him. I didn't know him that well, and they didn't want to invite a seemingly stranger to their house, which is understandable thinking back on it. At the time, I was like, I like this guy. Why can't he come? On the train, I leave. This caused a lot of turmoil between him and I, my parents and I, because he started getting in my head, telling me, "Oh, they don't like me. They don't want to know me because I'm black. They don't want to know me." Like, it was just getting in my head, saying these things where I knew that my parents weren't exactly excited that I was in an interracial relationship, which now they have gotten completely over and are completely accepting of. A day where he asked me to go on a date with him, and I was thrilled. I was excited. I wanted to go out on this date with him. He was going to bring me to dinner. And so I curled my hair, did my makeup, put on 5 different outfits, and then at 6 o'clock I called him and I was like, "Hey, what time are we gonna go?" "Oh, I don't know, I'll come by soon. I just have to do a couple things." "Okay, no problem." 7:30 rolls around, I call him again. "Hey, what time are we gonna go? Stop nagging me." Okay, so he hung up. 8:30, I call him again, like, "Hey, are we still going? Because, what time are we gonna go? The restaurant closes at 10, and I don't like showing up at 9:30 because it's just, I've been in the food industry too long." So I tell him, and he tells me to stop nagging him because then it just makes him not want to take me anywhere. So that kind of put in the works for me to stop questioning him as much, because if I question him, he's not going to take me out. If I question him, he's not going to do this. So I just left it alone. Then in the same month, a group of us decided to go out. It was all his friends that he had introduced me to. I asked him if he wanted to go, and he said no. He didn't want to go. He didn't really want to go out that night. I said, okay, that's fine. Do you mind if I go? I went out. One guy kept asking me to dance with him, and I kept telling him no. He was in our group of friends. I kept telling him no. I don't want to dance with you. I don't like dancing on people in general. So I just danced by myself. He texted me, hey, can I dance? I want to dance with you. You're so fine. He was drunk and just kept being persistent about wanting to dance with me. I kept telling him no. So this went on for a couple hours, and then I was kind of getting irritated, and then he came up behind me while I was dancing by myself and started dancing on me. At that moment, my ex came and tapped my shoulder, and he looked furious because I was dancing on some guy. And that wasn't the case at all, and had he been there and seen what was going on, he would have understood that. So I didn't really get why, at the exact moment that this guy started dancing on me, he tapped me on my shoulder. When did he get there? How long was he there? Why was he watching me? Like, these are all the questions that should have ran through my mind, but instead it was like, he's mad at me. What can I do to stop him being mad at me? I went to a hotel the next day, kind of to get away from everything. He wasn't talking to me. Then I finally, I begged him to come and talk to me. Just come talk to me. And we talked, and he's like, okay, I still don't agree with it. I still think it was wrong. And he was just still angry at me, so he left, and then he came back, and then he wanted to sleep with me and stayed the night. So, of course, I just kind of let him sleep with me because I didn't want to anger him anymore. He had just forgiven me for something that shouldn't have even needed forgiveness. But I just wanted him to forgive me. For spring break, I went home because I had a week off, and my mother and I got in a huge fight. So he came down and picked me up because it was getting really bad. So he came and picked me up, 4-hour drive, and then brought me back home, or back up to stay with him for a little bit. Then in the summer, he sent me back down because he said, work it out with your parents. Then a week through that, my parents and I got in a fight, a lot of it stemming from him speaking to them, texting them, telling them he's not going anywhere, they need to get used to him, and all these other things. And they both went back and forth, pretty heated discussion. And so a lot of things ended up going on between us, and then he came down and got me again. My family and I, we were not speaking at all. They didn't even have my phone number at that time. We would email occasionally, and they typically were not very nice, going back and forth. I felt very isolated. So he was the only thing I had, so I was going to defend that until it killed me. In October, I sent him to California because he had never been to California. He had never been anywhere. He had never been on a plane, never been out of the state, the state that we lived in. So I was just kind of like, you need to go somewhere. We didn't have the money for both of us to go, so I stayed back and worked while I sent him out to just experience life. His friend had invited him out there, so take the opportunity, go. He came back. We had fought a couple times, and then I was out doing my laundry with one of my old roommates at the campus that I went to. He ended up showing up on campus and not telling me, and I found out through Instagram. And he knew I was doing our laundry there. So I think I messaged him, and I was pretty angry about him being there and not telling me, and just letting me do our laundry without him even offering to help. Need us help, but just offer. So I was pretty upset, and then we were loading the car and I saw him. I was gonna pass by him, so I went back in and I said, hey, like, are you gonna help me? Like, you have three, like, me and two of my friends loading your laundry and my laundry into her car to drive me back to where you're gonna go to anyways. And he got angry because I said it in front of his friends. So he walked out without even saying anything to us. He passed right by us, and my friend started yelling at him. My friend started yelling at him, and I told her, like, yo, stop, stop. But I'm not a loud person, so I didn't say it loud enough, or I wasn't as defending as he wanted me to be. So he started yelling at her, and I told him to go, like, just go home, because he'd be the one getting in trouble had somebody seen that altercation. I got home, I unloaded my laundry, I told my friend to get out and just go home, I'll be fine. I get upstairs, he comes home, and he's livid, angry at me for not defending him. I told him I did, he called me a liar, and so I guess he went to leave, and I kind of got in front of the door because I wanted to talk to him because he was so angry. I was like, let's have a conversation. We don't need to, like, come talk to me. And at that point is when he got me for the first time, grabbed both my arms right here, slammed me on the ground, and told me that he hated me and all these nasty things. And when he had pushed me on the ground, I kicked up at him to try and push him off of me. And he said, he got even more angry, picked me up, slammed me against the ground again, hitting my head, telling me that I was treating him like dog shit because I put my feet on him. He snatched my shirt, scratching my chest, and he had broken my glasses in the altercation and taken my phone and told me to get out. So I left, I ran down the street with nothing but my clothes, and I had no shoes on. It was 10 o'clock at night in a really bad area. I ran to Walgreens, and Walgreens clerk gave me a phone to use, so I went on Facebook and messaged a guy that I knew had a crush on me, because I knew he would come get me, and he was bigger and stronger, and I just felt that I could feel safe around him. He came and picked me up, and we went to the beach, and at that time, I had taken pictures of the damage that was done to me. I had rug burns on my back. I had a gash across my chest. I had bruises on my arms and on my back and my ribs. I took these pictures in case something happened again, and that alone was the wrong mindset. I ended up going back because he called me and told me he was going to throw all my stuff away. So I went back, and he started throwing my things down the stairs, and I thought, you know what, can't beat him, join him, whatever. Started throwing my stuff down the stairs too. I knew if I threw his stuff downstairs, that would be the end of it. He got angry and started yelling, so I left again without about half of my belongings. Then he called back with an apologetic voice, stating that I should just come back. So I went back. He never apologized. He didn't pick up anything that he had thrown. I left it there for 4 days waiting for him to pick it up, and he just walked over it. So I finally picked it up, and his godmom and goddaughter both saw the things thrown everywhere, and they thought we just had a fight, we got dramatic, and they didn't really ask questions about it because it wasn't their place. And that is one common misconception, or not misconception, but that's one common thing that I want to stop. If you see something, ask questions. The worst they can say is no. The worst they can say is, hey, mind your own business. But ask. A lot of times in the next couple of videos, the things that I'm going to tell you somebody saw something or somebody heard something and they didn't say anything. And this is really mild compared to the rest of the videos. And there's been plenty of times where I thought I was going to die, and people heard and didn't call the cops, didn't say anything. They just looked at me with sad eyes and looked at me like, that's the battered girl downstairs, but they never asked, they never said anything. That, I think, was one of the scariest things that I've been through. Just not having anybody to say anything. So that is my first year of my relationship, and the first time that he put his hands on me. I really hope you'll stick with me through the rest of these videos. I'm going to try and keep them short. If you have any questions or anything you want to say at all, just leave a comment down below. Email the email I've provided down below. Also, share this video because I know I felt alone. I felt so alone, and I felt like, well, no one else is really going to care. This isn't that bad, you know, there's people that get it worse. And I kept quiet, and abuse thrives in silence, so that's why I refuse to be silent about it now. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.